Arataki Itto. Of course I know him. We've been trying to apprehend him recently. We know he's already left Inazuma City, but with no clues to follow, we have no choice but to commission others for help, including the Adventurers Guild.
Catherine says that Arataki Itto hasn't done anything seriously bad before, so it seems pretty strange. Paimon's curious. Is there any evidence of all this stuff he's accused of?
Yes, of course. Otherwise, we'd never have put so many people on the case. For starters, most thieves will try to devise a way to conceal their identity, but for an Oni, the horns are a dead giveaway. I mean, the whole city could have recognized it was him. At first, he was just one of our suspects, but when we went to investigate, he personally confessed to everything and started trying to provoke the officers. What's most frustrating is that he then managed to escape along with his entire gang. He must have been planning the whole thing right from the start. Of course he did. Whether material or psychological, there is plenty of evidence either way. He's never had a Mora to his name his entire life, and he's never kept down a real job. Word is that he also takes care of someone in his gang, and that the burden of it takes quite the toll on him. After scrounging for a living all these years, maybe he thought that being the bad guy would be an easier ride. As for his psychological motives, it's a bit embarrassing to talk about, but we confiscated his vision during the Vision Hunt Decree. At the time, Arataki Itto put up quite a fight. It took a huge amount of manpower and resources, and in the end we had to enlist the help of Kujo-Sara to finally secure his vision. The Vision Hunt was a mistake, but we never expected that he would go to such extreme lengths to take revenge on us.
He does sound a little unstable, just like people have been saying.
If the two of you are able to capture Arataki Itto, please bring him straight here. We'll handle him from there.
Thanks for all the info.
Arataki Itto? Oh yeah. I heard about that whole thing. I'm sure it must have been a mix-up on the Tenryou Commission's end. He could never do anything so dastardly.
Huh? How can you be so sure? Is he really as trustworthy as all that?
No, perhaps you misunderstand me. When I said he could never do anything dastardly, I meant he literally doesn't have what it takes. Maybe a story will explain it better. So, he used to spend a lot of time playing rock, paper, scissors and hide and seek with the kids on the streets. Kids, being kids, aren't exactly the most difficult to outsmart. I'm sure you can see what I'm getting at here. He used to lose all the time, sometimes catastrophically.
On purpose, though, right?
No, not at all. The one time I saw him win, he started jumping around and yelling, "I won! I finally won! I'm unbeatable!" And so on. Then he took the kid's candy as his prize and ate it right there in front of him.
Ugh, that's just plain wrong.
He did take it way too far that time. The poor kid started crying, so I stepped in and gave Itto a scolding. He was pretty quick to admit that he was fully in the wrong, and it wasn't long before the kid had stopped crying and was laughing and playing again as if nothing had ever happened. In fact, the children quite like playing with him because he's always serious about the stakes and never throws a game on purpose. So, I suppose what I'm trying to say is a guy who can't even beat kids at a children's game really going to be capable of these kinds of diabolical deeds?
Huh. He doesn't sound like a bad guy at all. In fact, he kind of sounds like a man of integrity.
Yes, my thoughts exactly. Still, the Tenryou Commission's evidence against him is supposed to be irrefutable. So, I'm not trying to condone his actions or anything. If he really has messed up big time, then he should face the consequences just like anyone else.
Thanks for the info. We'll keep asking around. Too bad we
My
still don't
store's
know where he
offering the
could have
latest
run
in
off
fashion.
to.
Come
We
and
already
have a
got
look.
word on the street, so maybe it's time to talk to a real specialist. Paimon remembers that there's a detective agency here in Inazuma. Maybe we can try asking there.
I think this time it will not.
Hello, we'd like to ask some questions about Arataki Itto.
Oh, him again. Sure. I have answers. We've already done some investigating for the Tenryo Commission. But first, do you have enough Moro to cover the fee? I've heard all about your travels. After everything you've been through, I'm sure you understand the way these sorts of things work.
How much more are we talking about here?
A one-off payment of 397,000 Mora, up front. Plus a further 5% of your Adventures Guild remuneration as my commission, if Arataki Itto is successfully caught and brought to justice.
Whoa! That's crazy expensive! How did you even come up with the price that high?
Hold on. I wasn't finished. It just so happens the initial fee has already been paid in full by the Tenryo Commission. All you'll need to pay is the small commission fee. And, as for that amount, I'll settle things with the Adventures Guild once we have Itto. So, from the way I see it, you guys are getting a pretty nice deal. Now then, to give you the full picture in this case, we must first recount a well-known Inazuman fairy tale. A long, long time ago, in a village lost to time, there lived a crimson Oni and a blue Oni. They were the best of friends. The crimson Oni looked fierce, but was gentle like the humans. The blue Oni looked human, but was reclusive, like an Oni. The crimson Oni wished to befriend the humans, but they were scared and threw beans at him whenever he came near. So the blue Oni said to the crimson Oni,
Akka, I'll cause trouble in the village. You'll come and stop me. Then the humans will accept you.
as planned, the crimson Oni chased the blue Oni away. The crimson Oni's deeds spread throughout the land, and people finally accepted him. But when the crimson Oni went to tell the blue Oni the good news, he was gone and left only a letter behind.
I went traveling. Don't come find me or they'll treat you as a naughty little Oni. But don't worry about me. No matter where I go, we'll always be friends.
That's it? What about the little blue Oni? Whatever happened to him?
I suppose the blue Oni simply disappeared, never to be seen again. Only the crimson Oni remain now.
But the blue Oni was just an innocent little kid.
Of course it does. Otherwise, I wouldn't go through all the trouble of telling it. One interpretation is that the story is actually broadly based on historical events and that Arataki Itto is, in fact, a descendant of the Crimson Oni. What I'm trying to tell you is that the Oni have sacrificed a lot in the past in order to finally integrate themselves into human society. But there are still some volatile personality traits in the Oni bloodline. Every generation of Oni inherits these traits. So while Arataki Itto has never been known to commit a wrongful act in the past, can we ever completely rule out the possibility of him one day allowing this side of him to take over?
But how could he do that? After the blue Oni's sacrifice?
That's a very old story. Nobody knows how long it's been since the Blue Oni disappeared. We can only assume that they have long since died out, in which case, it would be quite a stretch to say it still counts as a betrayal at this point. Besides, the suspect has already confessed. What is there left to discuss? According to my investigation, he was headed southwest. I would bet he's already made it to Yashiori Island by now. The Tenryo Commission is unable to enter territory controlled by Sangonomiya troops. No doubt that's the reason Arataki Itto chose to flee in that direction. Don't mention it. I'm just doing my duty.
Wait, Paimon still has a question. If Arataki Itto has given into his bad side, won't that mean he's extra mean and violent now?
I could only assume so. Judging from his previous bouts, he is a skilled fighter with a lot of brute strength. Whether or not you'll be able to handle him, that I do not know.
Okay, but what's up with people throwing beans at Oni? What use is that?
Ah, yes. Now that you mention it, I seem to recall that Arataki Itto is allergic to beans. In fact, all Oni will avoid beans, but especially Itto. I heard that just touching a bean is enough to incapacitate him. If you could weaken him a bit by triggering his allergies, perhaps you'd have better luck subduing him.
It's fine. He's the bad guy, remember?
It just so happens that I have a bag of beans right here. I was planning to use them to make some porridge, but I think you will find a better use for them. Of course, I will charge the Adventurers Guild a fair and reasonable rate for the beans.
Sneaky. But also, thanks.